After the pandemic turned for the worse in January 2022, students returned to virtual learning once again. According to many studies, virtual learning is harmful towards a teenager's growth and academic performance. According to Susan Bridges, an education professor at the University of Hong Kong, it's difficult for students to focus and be motivated online. This was proven by her research paper on this topic. Not only is this happening in Hong Kong, but all over the world. Based on a Washington Post article, childhood experts' research indicates that 51% of students were unable to maintain close relationships with peers. This is caused by the isolated nature of virtual learning. To understand the situation in more detail, the HKSFG group decided to investigate the impact of virtual learning on high school students from Hong Kong. This is Charmaine. She is a high school freshman in an international school.
So being online and doing the whole virtual learning thing makes me feel very stressed, and I feel like I'm trapped to my own surroundings. I cannot get out the house. It makes me feel very tired, and I don't feel productive, and by not being productive makes me also really stressed. So I guess virtual learning is worsening my stress levels a lot. So because of the pandemic, I wasn't able to go out to restaurants a lot, and I was kind of forced to stay home because there's so many people around me that has COVID. On Zoom, when teachers put you into random breakout rooms to have discussions, it makes me feel really anxious because I don't really talk to the people in that breakout room a lot. It makes me feel really anxious that we're not going to have anything to talk about. I do feel a bit burnt out during these few months because we're forced to stare at the screen the entire day. So after I finish my classes with Zoom, it makes me feel very tired and so much stressed. So my productivity goes down a lot because of the amount of screen time I have each day. My mental health has not been particularly that great, just because of how I lack a lot of social interaction, which usually keeps me going when I'm really stressed. So when I'm stuck at home by myself, I really focus on the small rituals that I do every single day. Sometimes these rituals interfere with my daily life, which makes it even more stressful for me. So I feel because of Zoom, my rituals have increased by a lot. So this is why I think that my mental health is not that great right now.
For a more holistic understanding of the pandemic's impact on teenagers, we decided to reach out to a professional.
My name is Sarah Daly. I'm a school counsellor.
Have students been seeking more help than before?
Yes, they have been seeking more help over the last 2 years. Of course, school has been open and shut many times. Hong Kong's gone into lockdown. So students have sought help for various reasons. And I think over the last 2 years worldwide, therapy, psychology and counselling has become something that people are more comfortable with and are more at ease about seeking to solve some of the problems they might have in their lives.
So from what you've seen, how has COVID-19 or virtual learning worsened the teenagers' mental health?
I think talking about the pandemic first and how that's impacted young people is that it's made a lot of them feel very cut off, socially and otherwise. So being at home constantly, instead of coming to school where they're very sociable, meeting their friends, is very different from being at home with their parents and family day in, day out. Some students have talked about being low mood, feeling cut off from their friends, not being able to focus online as well as when they are in school. However, there have been times when students have talked about they like being at home and they actually focus better being at home and online. And of course they liked the idea that they were getting up later because they were getting more sleep, and they had maybe more autonomy over creating their own day and what that might look like. Of course they would tune into lessons, but after that then they had more time because they weren't travelling back and forth to school. With regards to online learning, and also I suppose what we talked about before was the physical side of life. And students, whether they're in primary or in secondary, many of them were just stagnant, physically stagnant, and sitting in their chairs for many, many hours, which then does not promote healthy bodies physiologically or mentally, because a lot of students were feeling fatigue and just maybe not able to do much else because they couldn't go out. The students that reported that they were exercising more and were going out to exercise reported better levels of well-being and mood for those who did still continue to exercise. Those who were not going out for month after month were reporting high levels of anxiousness and feeling cut off. I am always amazed at the students that I meet here, how resilient they are, and how they always find ways during these past few years to source ways in which they need support. It hasn't been easy. Many students have said, it was easier when I was in school because I could talk to a teacher in person, but now that I'm at home, it feels like there's a barrier. Of course, I would always encourage students, if they felt comfortable, to talk to teachers and use their professionalism and their advice. But what I have heard is that students do rely on other students, and because they feel comfortable amongst their friends, they have set up study groups. I know that some students have spent days with friends online because they felt lonely, and they might go to each other's houses during this time, and they then work together. So often students can create those support circles. So being online, even though we know it has its downsides, young people have connected with each other online to find out, are they doing something right? Could they be doing something differently? And that's where online support has taken off from in-person support, because it had to develop in that way.
For positive, it's really good to see my friends again and have that social interaction that I lack a lot in online school. But the negative is that because I have to change my entire routine from when I wake up to when I get dressed to when I eat breakfast to when I take the specific bus to school, that I feel a bit of stress just doing that transition every day. One way I do is to drink tea. I think it's because of the aroma of the tea or the ritual of making tea, and I feel like I have control over what flavor I want to drink or what aroma I want my brew to smell like because of the tea. So I feel like that helps me relieve my stress. Just because
Now that high school students have returned to school, things have started to take a good turn in both academics and health. Hopefully, students will be back on track soon.